just come across my channel for whatever reason, you want to know who to follow to keep up with Colorado everyday football. They don't just do game days. I'm talking about everyday practices, team meetings, team functions, even when they eat. Sometimes even when they go to class, I'll just give you some media who you can look up and who I follow and support, and you can follow them too. This is in no particular order. The first one I would always suggest is Well Off Media. He basically started this as a channel that's ran by Deion Sanders Jr. Great content, and he allows everybody else to use his footage, but just the access that he gets. So that's the first one I would tell you to follow. Well Off Media. The second one would be the pregame show. Uncle Neely. He gives great insight too. He's an older gentleman, just like myself. You can follow him. He gives very good interviews, very good insight into the program. He's actually coming from Jackson State, just like Well Off Media is also coming from Jackson State with Coach Prime. So they have history, and it's always good to get behind him and support that channel too. And he's also on another show. I think it's DNVR Sports. He sometimes a guest on their show, and it's also good to go over there, and I'll bring that up a little bit later. The next one I would suggest is called Reach the People Media. Um, he's another guy. He brings energy to his approach. He's one of the first ones that was also doing the games at Jackson State with Well Off Media. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. I think Well Off Media helped start him too. I'm pretty sure I'm correct on that. But he's also another channel that came right from Jackson State. So that's another channel with history on it. Great people to follow. Great channel to follow. The next one is called DNVR Sports. It's a two-man team. They bring a different insight because they've been doing Colorado football way before we start following Colorado football. It's two young guys. They give great insight. They have a great show. And I think they're excellent to follow. They're 100% behind Coach Prime and what they're doing with this program and what they're doing over there. Great supporters, but they also give you great insight, and they give you great history into why some things. Like for instance, they gave us great insight on why Nebraska was a big was a big game for them, which I did. It was a big rivalry game, which I had no idea. But they catch you up on things like that. A lot of teams that the Colorado Buffs will be playing, they can give you insight on those teams because they've been following those teams just as well as Colorado for a long time. So DNVR Sports. And also Neely is also with them sometimes. I think sometimes pregame, sometimes after the game, sometimes during the week. But they're great people to follow. John the Liquidator, I follow him. He brings a lot of energy with his approach. He has a lot of good daily updates. He'll read up on some media, some things that he's found maybe that you haven't seen, and he'll give some insight into some things that you may have missed. So he's a good one. I think he was also at Jackson State. I'm not sure though. I think that's where I first found him too. This is one that a lot of people don't talk about, but I support her channel. It's called Her Ticket Sports. She's kind of new, but she also has good information. She gives good background to some of the things that she's talking about. If she's talking about a player or whatever, sometimes she'll give some background information. She just won't talk about them, kind of like I do. She kind of goes a little deeper. So Her Ticket Sports is a good channel to follow. One of the best channels out there, I don't think anybody can dispute it. It's called Big Dog Chico. I think he played at UAB. He doesn't give good insight. He gives great insights on the X's and O's. That's actually how I came across him. He was suggested one time in my stream. Looked him up, and he can break it down probably better than most YouTubers that I've found so far, because he played and he can tell you what's supposed to happen, how this person was supposed to block. He can tell you the techniques. He can tell you what was right, what was wrong. And he's also a great supporter of Coach Sanders. But as far as X's and O's, if you don't want to keep looking at the same guys on ESPN and Fox Sports and all these places, which they do a great job, but you can get a guy you can actually ask questions to. He responds back sometimes when you send emails and his lives. He really tries to respond to his lives. So Big Dog Chico is probably, if you want the X's and O's, you definitely gotta follow him. And he has other channels that you can follow off of his one main channel. But Big Dog Chico. And it's with two G's, Biggdogg, Chico, Chico. If you're trying to look him up. Another good media or YouTube slash media to follow is called Brian Howell. Howell. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. He's an older guy, but he gives great insight. He's been around Colorado for a while too, before we all start following Colorado. So you can watch his channel, get some good insight. He can break some things down as well as far as the history and what's going on, et cetera, et cetera. He also covers Media Day for them too. So that's another good channel to follow. Hodwell. I hope I'm saying his name right. I hate messing people's name up. Another one's called TLP Sports Club. Another guy that's fun. He's actually funny. The guy is funny. If you really get to his channel and listen to him, he's hilarious. But he brings like a different energy too. He's really a great supporter. But it's just a different energy. He's a lot more exciting when he's talks and when he follows things, and he's really into Colorado football, just like we all are. So he's another good person to follow. TLP Sports Club. Another one, he's not really a YouTuber, but he played at Colorado as a quarterback. Joel Klatt. You can look him up. He's more established. He's not really a YouTuber, but he has a YouTube channel, if that make any sense. But he's good, great insight and honest insight. And it's always good to get an ex-player's insight on what's going on at his school at this point. And he also can break down the quarterback position because he played it. So he can really break down things that Shador is doing, maybe little things that we didn't notice or whatever. Him and Big Dog Chico was great at breaking things like that down. The next one I got is buffstampede.com. Is another guy that's been there. Sometime him and Brian do a show together, but that's a very good show. He does great interviews. He even interview YouTubers, which I think is cool. I think he just interviewed Life in Football not too long ago, but he great insight, great information, great history with the program. He's been there local, if I'm not mistaken, for a while, way before we got to Colorado as well. So he can also break down reasons why Nebraska's a big game, and how other teams may approach Colorado and what type of teams they normally have with the teams that we're not familiar with. So he's another good person to follow. As far as media, the next one is QB Spotlight. QB Spotlight is two guys, but normally it's Stephen Hammer. That's the one that I found first. Then later I came across David Talk Buffs. But QB Spotlight, if you want to hear after the game how Shador really played, go to QB Spotlight. They will break it down almost better than anyone that I follow as far as the non-professionals, as far as people that's on YouTube. And not just Shador in Colorado. He breaks down other quarterbacks. And I think it's great because quarterbacking is one of the hardest jobs. And he can break it down and tell you how he really played. You can't always look at TV to see how quarterback played. Like you might think Shador struggled in the first quarter of the game against Nebraska. No, I don't think he struggled. I think that the defense had a great plan, which Shador gave the defensive coordinator credit after the game. They had a good plan, and he had to figure it out. That's what football is. You can't always score and figure everything out in the first quarter. It's a grind. So, but QB Spotlight, and you got Steve Hammer, and you got David Talks Buffs, which is good. The next one is David Talks Buffs. He's another guy who's very energetic and really into Colorado football. He does live sometimes, and he likes to interact with the people. And he's another guy that's good to follow, and he cares about the Colorado team. Another great one to me is called Buffs Primetime. He's another local guy that's been there. He's an older guy too, that's been covering Colorado for a while. And normally he does like some pregame stuff, and Coach Prime may go up there. And he'd do interviews like right before the game, as the game was approaching. He'd do some interviews. He actually has another channel called Buffs TV that I follow. He hosts it. The good part about this one is if you want to know more about Colorado not just football, but Colorado sports, it's a great place to follow. He does interviews with different coaches. He just did an interview with the athletic director. And he does, I think he interviewed the soccer team not too long ago, because I follow his channel. And I respect it. So you can find out about other sports. You can find out about the soccer team. They have a good girls soccer team there. They don't have a baseball team. They have a very good girls basketball team and a very good guys basketball team. So if you want to follow sports more than football, follow Buffs TV. Um, and the girls team is good. I want to watch them against Duke last year, and they came down here and beat Duke at Duke, which is very hard to do for men or women. So, but he'll give you a rundown on all sports going on in Colorado, and I think that's good. Another good guy that's good to follow is Life in Football. He covers different sports. I think he's located in Florida, but when he talks Colorado football, he can give you great insight. I believe he played as well, so I get a lot out of his channel. And if you want to go more than your bus football, he's your guy because he interviews a lot of different people. And I like his story about how he just kind of started on a whim, him and his business partner. Now, to me, he's big. Another guy who's good to follow, he is a famous YouTuber, Matt Be Great. He's kind of comical to me, but he played a position in high school. But he still knows a lot about the sport. And he covers other teams as well, but he covers Colorado and he gives very honest. That's why I pride myself on being truth, which is why I have truth in my name. Very honest about what he sees and what's going on. Coach Age Football is a very good one too. He goes hard. He covers different sports, but he was an ex-coach, so he knows how to break things down as well. The last one is Tomorrow Leaders Sports. It's called Tomorrow's Leaders Sports. I found him at Jackson State as well, and he sometimes cover the Buzz football. So if you like Jackson State and Buzz football, he'll be your guy. And that's all I have as far as media who's good to follow if you want to keep up what's going on at Colorado sports. Football team, and even other sports. So hopefully this information was good for you. See you on the next segment. This is Hunt 919 True Sports. Ride with me.